trying to not blind yourself. Are we good? Can you see?
I mean, I'm good.
You can see. You see it.
Yeah,
The
no.
direct line. Okay, let me try to scooch a little more.
What if we do it on the other side where we're looking that way, and the camera's looking, I guess.
Yeah, it's okay. All right, are we ready?
We're ready.
Let's wait for this car to go by. Any more airplanes? You see any more airplanes?
No airplanes.
Good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
Oh, the challenges of content creator. You want to come shoot videos early in the morning and later in the evening once the sun's not up. And then we deal with really bad traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Or airplanes. We live near a...
Air Force Base.
And they're loud. Those C-130s are no joke. And they get so low.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you feel like the whole earth's rumbling.
Oh, I could hit them with a rock. They're so low.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Alright, well, cheers. Happy Friday. We hope you guys are doing well. We're not quite perky yet because, as you can tell, we're still trying to get caffeinated this morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we doing today.
I don't know, boss, what are we doing?
Y'all know I hate when he says that, right? And he says it all the time. All the time. Especially when he introduces me to people that I don't even know. Well, if that's the case, I'd like some bacon and eggs.
I'd get on that, too.
No, so we've been chatting a lot. And we've been having a reoccurring conversation that we've been having for 2 years since we moved to this farm. And we thought we'd give it a go and we would just kind of wait it out. And now we're kind of at a place where I feel like we don't have any other choice but to do this. Like, I do think it's the best choice. So we're gonna be making like our biggest farm change yet, which seems daunting and exciting. So we're gonna talk to you guys about that in a second. But today's task is the cottage garden. The cottage garden is crazy with morning glory. It's super invasive here. And so it just kind of...
Thanks, Jessica.
It's part Jessica, part just morning glory grows super crazy here. It's really hard to like get a grasp on it once it has gone to seed. And so unless you are just super, super diligent every single day picking morning glory as it sprouts, you get in trouble real quick. And I usually always get in trouble real quick.
It reminds me of I don't know what it is, the ivy. I'm from Mississippi, and this stuff grows all over everything in Mississippi. It's so invasive. I can't remember what that, kudzu maybe, I can't remember what that stuff is called. But that's what morning glory is. It just takes over everything.
Well, and we were, we live in the country, and so we were at a stop sign, and I saw an entire stop sign overtaken with morning glory. So it is native here in some areas. And I just remember thinking, wow.
Yeah.
One time I watched a Justin Rhodes video, and don't ask me what it was, but they were on the side of a road, and their kids were climbing this vine, all the way up of this just like thick, crazy vine or something. And that reminded me of morning glory. I thought, my gosh, you probably could do that with morning glory.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just sitting here looking, and it's completely...
It takes over our entire fence rows.
Yeah, it's overtaken those holly bushes. It's overtaken...
The willow.
Yep.
The greenhouse. It does it constantly. The one good thing is it is nice when it takes on and it creates a border from the fence, because then there's some sort of privacy from the road. However, I don't know. I don't know how to get a grip on it.
I feel like if I stood over there long enough, it would swallow me. It would grow up me and swallow me.
So that's our project, one of our projects today. We just recently planted our dahlias. I'm sure you guys remember, but I am trying to curate dahlia collections for southern growers. Dahlias are really grown primarily in the Pacific Northwest, where it's that rainy, cool climate. That's what they thrive in. They can actually handle being really wet. They They don't like super, super hot, humid environments and climates, which means we really struggle here in central Arkansas growing them when it's 100 degrees. And so we talked to a lot of southern growers who really want to grow dahlias. They really want to sell dahlias, but they just burn up. They don't do well. And so we're on our second year. I'm realizing this is a long game, though. It's going to take me a while to really get this right, but I'm committed. So we got all of the 3 beds over here, the 3 48-foot long beds planted and mulched. And we did get the beds over here planted, but you can see here we've got some crazy grass growing. Nutsedge is what that is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we battle with that too. But that's exciting. And then this weekend we're going to start sowing our carrots, radish, beets, all that in the high tunnel. So I feel like even though it's still so hot, the shift is coming.
Yeah, it was 102 yesterday. The heat index was like 108, 9, something like that. You know, just brutal. You can't stand to be outside more than a few hours. I can't anyways.
No, it was kind of too with just the humidity level. Took your breath away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been trying to get up super early and come out here. And if we can manage the mosquitoes, we've been trying to come out here later at night. But all right, we really got to get to work before it gets hot, and we really need to tell you guys what the plan is so that you guys have time to adjust. Okay, so let's just lay it on y'all straight. I hope you have your coffee or your tea or whatever your comfort items are.
We're about to take down the entire raised bed garden, bulldoze it down.
That was a little dramatic. We're about to take down half of the entire raised bed garden and bulldoze it down.
Truth.
That is the truth. So we're literally cutting the raised bed garden in half. Mm-hmm. This is something we have talked about since before we moved in. Our original plan was to rip all the raised bed garden down. We actually talked with our friends Jessica and Jeremiah, who we bought our property from, before we bought it, and was like, hey, you know, there's a good chance we're gonna really change some things if we buy this property. Are you okay with that? Like, if we were to go in and knock the whole raised bed garden down, would you still want us to buy your farm, type of thing? Because they put in so much work. You know, if you know Jessica, you know this raised bed garden, it meant a lot to her. She put a lot of work into it. But Jessica and Jeremiah's goals and mine and Nathan's goals are vastly different. They come from the homesteading side of things. We really wanted this to be a profitable market farm, which just meant things needed to change. And they were so kind. I just remember them laughing and just being like, it's your farm. Like, whatever you want to do it. And they were so supportive, and they recognized some of the issues that were in here, which is why we were wanting to tear it down. So there's groundwater in our raised bed garden, and not just a little, to the point where come spring, you have got water that is calf deep. It really pulls in the back and saturates everything. It's starting to rot all the wood, and the beds are starting to fall apart. And Nathan has looked, let's get us out of the sun, to get that issue fixed. We've looked into it several times. We'd have to tear the whole front fence down, rip out the two 24-foot beds that are there to be able to get a trencher in here. And we'd have to trench down every single raised bed aisle and run French drains. And we'd have to run it out to the pasture behind us, which was quite expensive.
Well, it was expensive, but it was necessary. You know, when she's talking about there's groundwater 6 to 8 months out of the year. You can barely walk in here without getting ankle deep in mud, you know, and so it is a nightmare to weed eat. It's just, you know, a playground for mosquitoes, and you know, and so there's just so many issues, and it takes me, you know, 4 hours to weed eat in here, and who has that amount of time, you know, when you've got other things going on?
Not Nathan.
when it's 102 degrees outside, the last thing I want to do is be weed eating for 4 hours. You know?
I don't blame you. And so we were gonna knock it down, and we were gonna do in-ground beds, and that's when Jess and I were like, hey, well, you've seen the groundwater. I don't actually think you could do in-ground beds because the groundwater's so bad, which is why they did raised beds. So that's something we've been thinking about. Another issue on the whole right side of the bed, on the whole right side of the raised bed garden, we're dealing with a lot of invasive nutsedge in the grasses, and it's really, really hard. You guys know Nathan and I want to automate everything on our farm, meaning that our systems need to be efficient. We do not have the luxury with all the things that we're doing to be out in the gardens every single day. And so with that, we have a day and a time and a schedule for everything. And so Wednesdays are cultivation days where we're cultivating all the beds. You know, we have ourselves set up on a regimen, but it's really hard to maintain the beds in here even with that regimen because certain times of year, those grasses are so invasive. And so, you know, we've just been thinking through how do we make this more manageable for us, but also how do we make it enjoyable? Because at this point, it's not enjoyable to come out here because there are so many challenges and so many obstacles, and there seems like there is no way to automate this area for our farm. And so we've tossed the idea around, we've figured out, I mean, we struggle with the right side of the raised bed garden the worst. The left side doesn't have that invasive grasses near as bad, so I'm not having to cultivate as often. I can stay on that regimen and it works well for us. So what we've decided to do this fall and winter when it's not 100 degrees, we are going to actually tear down the whole right side. So from the pavilion over, we're going to give ourselves a little bit of room to build a fence. But essentially where this first bed is, we'll build a fence on the other side of that, but then still tear down the bed. And then the two beds, when you walk in, those, you know, 24-foot beds, we'll also have to remove those, take the fence down to even get the equipment in here, and we'll rework that anyways, because right now when we go to clean out beds or anything like that, we can't get any piece of equipment. We can't get a wheelbarrow in here, we can't get a tractor, we can't get a gorilla cart, we can't get anything to make cleanups efficient at the end of the season. So we're going to try to rework the fence. The big gate and arbor will still be there, but we'll try to have another area where we can get a bigger piece of equipment in and be able to figure something out with that. And then I think it'll just be way more manageable for us. We'll have the beautiful cottage garden, and we don't need the space. So that was another thing too, is why are we keeping it when it's creating a headache for us? It's really discouraging us. We can't stay on top of it, and we don't need the space. We've got the 2 tunnels now, where I'll probably start some of my cut flowers in some of those tunnels as well, just to make sure I can, you know, still keep working on some of that stuff. But that's kind of our fall winter plan. Hopefully we can put it in action. When do you think we'll start this project?
When it cools off.
Yeah. So in what, a week and a half, our temperatures are supposed to drop?
No, baby. We're going to have a slight dip next week. You know, it'll be in the low 90s versus the low hundreds, and so we may start something, but we won't see a dip in temperatures for 45 days, 30 days.
What was that?
Yeah, stinking horseflies.
These horseflies are no joke. So we wanted to tell you guys so you could have time to adjust.
Big change. Big change.
It is. It's a big change for us. It seems like, yeah, it is a big change. It's not just like a, you know, a different way of trellising or a different gardening technique. It is, you know, making a legit change. But Nathan and I knew that we really wanted to be diligent with our time here and really set systems in place to where, you know, wherever God calls us after this, which that's probably going to be a long time, we wanted to have a profitable farm someone could come into and have those systems already in place, and they can just, you know, we can shift ownership there. And that's really what we're thinking about. The things that we're thinking about now is really just kind of that forward vision of how do we make this better for someone else in the long run too. In 10 years from now, what is this space going to look like? And did we really do it justice? And that's kind of where I'm at. And I felt like Jessiah passed this on to us, and we were ready to immediately start farming, and we had a place for our animals, and they did such a great job at stewarding and cultivating this land. And now that we just have slightly different goals, and we just run 2 totally different farms, some of our goals are different, and we're kind of trying to do the same thing. How do we make this as efficient and productive as we can for someone to come on here and just really make the most out of their tiny space? So we wanted to share with you guys what this looks like, because I will be spending more time out in the raised bed garden as the dahlias are starting to sprout, and you guys are going to start seeing some construction. You're going to start seeing some stuff that's going to look a little different. We wanted to give you a heads up that this is what we're doing.
It's coming.
It's coming. We're excited though. We're excited, but we're getting run away by the light, and
Sun's coming up.
We're wasting shade, so we're gonna go try to get a handle on the cottage garden with all this morning glory. But thanks for hanging out with us today. Thanks for being supportive. You know, I know that I'm a dreamer. I've got a ton of plans. Some plans Nathan are like, no, and some things he's like, yeah, this makes sense. This could be more manageable. And it's nice to have a space that we can come and tell you guys that, and there's just love and support, you know. And so that doesn't go unnoticed. We really do appreciate every crazy idea we throw out there, every new improvement or anything we want to do to the farm. You guys just welcome it with open arms, and you support and rally us, and that means a lot. So thank you guys. Wanted to give you this quick little farm update, but we're going to get to work.
This
Cheers.
is like morning coffee talk.
Yeah, but I got a fly in mine.
Oh, that stinks for you.
I know. What a bummer.
Because you got all the
Cinnamon.
and honey and milk.
They like mine better. All right, well, we're going to get to work, y'all. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to y'all soon.
Thanks, guys.